70% of the workforce in the United States is actually in the front line. And this is across every sector: healthcare, retail, manufacturing, et cetera. One of the biggest challenges associated with the front line is turnover rate within that population. So some of you might have heard of this thing called the demographic cliff. The fewer 18-year-olds, the fewer people we have coming of age, the fewer we have entering higher education, but also the fewer we have actually entering the workforce. You heard me mention before that we see these high attrition rates, and that partly speaks to, frankly, the dissatisfaction of frontline workers with those roles and opportunities. What we hear from them is 71% of them actually want to develop their skills, want to improve. Scarlett Morris is a really important voice on this panel. She's wearing two hats here. One is she's actually a graduate of the Archways to Opportunity program at McDonald's, and she's also a people and development lead within the McDonald's world. As somebody who has participated and benefited from these sort of frontline education programs, and also somebody who's regularly talking to the frontline about the opportunities available to them.
At 17 years old, I was on my own, and so McDonald's was how I was paying the bills. And I did try to go to community college here and there, but when you're working and you have kids, those things don't become priority. And so when I had the opportunity to go back and get my degree, at first I kind of did it for my daughter, my son, my husband, and my mom. I was telling them before we came here that sometimes you don't take a chance on yourself, you don't bet on yourself. And so when you have McDonald's and Archways and your owner-operator kind of betting on you, you don't have anything to lose.
The general public has a perception of what the opportunities are associated with frontline jobs that I think is overly limiting. At 17, having to work to pay her own bills, right, to now, a college graduate with a highly successful career, married to another college graduate with a highly successful career, and kids in college or on a path to college. That's not what you necessarily think of, right? And I think that perception is a big part of the journey.
When we think about our program, this is really about investing in our people and showing up in the communities that we're in. And those areas are also areas that are often more marginalized. They're areas of the country where people haven't always had all the opportunities that maybe other people have. And so we take that responsibility incredibly seriously. We can choose to be the employer that invests in and helps create leaders in the community and lifts people up. We have made all of our employees eligible for this benefit. How do we equalize that playing field? Right? If we truly want this benefit to be something that is available to everyone, what do you do? And so when we moved to EdAssist, we moved to a direct payment model where we pay schools up front. And that was a really critical change. And we saw a giant leap, especially in our frontline employees, of people taking advantage of a benefit that had always been available to them. Not just like corporate BS where we say, here's a great benefit, but you can't actually use it because you can't afford to, right? This is the kind of program that people talk about. This is the kind of program that when we are having recruiting events, people are stoked about. This is the kind of program that when new people join, someone else on the team is like, have you checked out the tuition benefits yet? Like, this is super cool and it's changed my life. A lot of people would never have an opportunity in the United States to go to college. The reality is the majority probably of people in the United States would never have that opportunity. They don't know how to do it. Their parents never had that shot. They might be immigrants. They may be from a marginalized group who maybe hasn't had all the same opportunities that others have. And I think that it's our job as an employer to do better and to help, really invest in those communities.
Our expectation isn't that people make French fries
Forever.
Yeah. When we think about entry-level work, 1 in 8 Americans have worked in a McDonald's restaurant. We have this opportunity to not only give them access to education, but the skills, the job readiness skills that people learn in this work are really important skills, and skills that don't just serve them in a job in a McDonald's restaurant. They serve them in any career they choose to pursue.
We are taking a whole new kind of look at everything that we do to figure out how to make this be more of a very intentional strategic pipeline for future workforce needs. One of the challenges currently, especially in tech, is around having the skills needed for this next generation, like AI skills, things like that. We'd love to invest in our people. They know our culture. They know what it means to be successful as a member of Team Magenta. Aren't those the people that you'd love to then bring into other roles and create new opportunities? At T-Mobile, in all the things that we build, choice is important. When you have this many employees spread around every state, in the United States, we have so many different kinds of people, right? We have so many different kinds of people. And one size is never going to fit all. And everybody's looking for something slightly different. So I want to be able to rise to that challenge, right, and let people use it. And so that's why our program, you can use it at any accredited university if you want. And we have these other partners that you can potentially have your money stretch further if you go with them, right, because you can graduate without debt. Now we're kind of shifting more, just in general, about measuring all the things that we invest in our people and understanding how that pays off. People that are using our tuition program, yes, we've looked at retention. We know they have higher retention. These are an investment. And every year when you're making decisions in your benefits lineup about where do you put your money, it's really helpful to be able to prove the value on the back end in all of these other measures of our business.
We saw 2 times more likely to be promoted, 2.5 times more likely to stay, right? Their retention rates were 2.5 times higher. We actually saw a correlation between restaurants who had high Our Choice participation and sales. So a 1% lift in sales. And I know 1% doesn't sound like a lot, but 1% at McDonald's is a big number. Our franchisees pay 50%. And I will tell you that if our franchisees didn't see benefit in their restaurants while we were paying 100%, they would have not done it.
This is an alternative model. That this is how we're expanding opportunities. Like, the truth is actually this is a better model.